Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Aaron is back. Welcome back, everyone, for a little bit more SPTV, where every day is a great day. Not to be in a cult. You done messed up, Ryan Cotton. You done messed up. You have been exposed to the SPTV Nation as Scientology's latest, what do you want to call it? Useful idiot, stooge, agent, shill, whatever word you come up with, it applies to Clearwater, Florida City Council member Ryan Cotton. As some of you who watch this channel regularly already know, Scientology went to the city of Clearwater a few months ago, about 4 months ago, and said, you know what? We think we'd like to buy one of the streets near one of our buildings. What do you think about that? And they said, we'll have to look into that. And the city council members basically authorized the city manager to have the conversation with Scientology. And because, of course, if Scientology wants something from the city, there's nothing wrong. And I certainly don't blame the city from going, well, if they want something from us, let's see what they're willing to give us for it. So the public did not find out until a couple weeks ago that the city manager had finished negotiations with Scientology and was putting a proposal to the city council for Scientology to buy a street. They would then close the street down. It's a major artery in the downtown. It's just one block. It's one block of a street. And anyway, there's been a whole lot of hullabaloo about all this. And in the first vote that the city council had, 3 out of the 5 council members voted to authorize the sale of this street to Scientology. 2 of the council members, one of them being the Mayor Bruce Rector, and council member Lina Teixeira, they voted no. And last night's council meeting was scheduled to be the second reading and the second vote on this initiative. And a lot of us showed up to speak on this. And at the risk of leaving anyone out, I want to thank Mark Bunker. I want to thank Farrell Sherrill. I want to thank Joe the protester. I want to thank Eric Rader. I want to thank Eyes on the Street. I want to thank John Felix. I want to thank Dusty Soda Fountain. I want to thank Sandy McKenna. I want to thank Erica and everyone else that I'm forgetting. All of you who showed up last night and some of you also who spoke at the council. I am going to very briefly show you my 3-minute speech, which was directed mostly at Scientology agent Ryan Cotton. And then I'm just going to play for you some key segments of the meeting after everyone had a chance to speak, where Ryan Cotton was basically losing his mind that the council was not immediately authorizing this sale of the church to Scientology. By the way, one of the funniest parts of the meeting is when Ryan Cotton, Clearwater, Florida City Council member Ryan Cotton, the biggest cheerleader of selling this street to Scientology, Ryan Cotton found out at the meeting when someone else pointed it out that this $1.3 million that Scientology has agreed to pay for this street, they're not paying that for like 6 years. By the way, there's something called the net present value of $1. Okay, $1.3 million today is much more valuable than $1.3 million in 6 years. It seems like Ryan Cotton didn't seem to understand that Scientology wouldn't be forking over a single dollar for 6 more years. Ryan's been talking about how this is going to be great for the taxpayers, and we need the revenue for this, and we need the revenue for that. By the way, the annual budget of the city of Clearwater is somewhere between somewhere around $550 million. And here's Ryan Cotton talking about the value of a $1.3 million sale to Scientology. And then you find out it's not for 6 years. Okay. So anyway, by the way, normally I would already be downtown for the Friday night protest because it's close to 90 degrees out there. I'm going to be going down there closer to 6 o'clock. All depends on how fast I can finish this video. I already got the pizzas. They're sitting in the trunk of my car. I'm ready to roll as soon as I finish this video. Okay. So let me start by just showing you the brief 3 minutes that I spoke, and then we will pick it up from there. I think. Let me make sure the volume on this is all good, and I'm going to share it full screen. Here we go. I think everyone watching these proceedings is somewhat surprised to watch in real time while the biggest cheerleader of this project in the council, Ryan Cotton, just found out tonight that Scientology is not even paying this $1.3 million for another 6 years. It's unbelievable. I have seen your email responses to some of the citizens that have emailed you their concerns about this, and you are suspiciously in favor of this project, a project that no one in Clearwater wants. Scientologists are less than 2% of the population. There's about 1,500 Sea Org members. There's about 1,000 public Scientologists. In all of Tampa Bay, you couldn't scrape up 4,000 Scientologists, but you're running around like building L. Ron Hubbard Hall is going to save downtown Clearwater. Ryan, it doesn't make any sense what you are out there doing. Mayor Bruce Rector, thank you for voting no on this. Lina?
Yeah.
At one of the recent hearings, the mayor of Clearwater said he is still not even clear why Scientology wants this street. How can free council members be voting yes when the mayor isn't even clear why Scientology wants this street? And you've both, Lina and Bruce, you have both already made it clear. You already know they don't need the street. Not selling them this street does not prevent them from building LRH Hall. It's got nothing to do with it. So why do they want it? I truly agree with Mark Bunker. They want it so that protesters can't stand on the sidewalks in front of LRH Hall. Ryan, you talk about treating Scientologists like any other member of the community. Is there any other church in this community that has gone to war and tried to sabotage the development of downtown Clearwater? So whereas Scientologists should be treated with the same respect and the same rights as all other members of this community, the Church of Scientology is not just another member of this community. It is a toxic, dangerous, and destructive force, and everyone who spent any amount of time downtown understands this. But for some reason, you like their shiny video. It's truly incredible. You talk about the construction benefits of LRH Hall. That's a one-time benefit. Whatever economic trickle-down effect there is, that's a one-time benefit. You seem to be under the impression that building LRH Hall brings more Scientologists to Clearwater. Do you not understand the role of the flag land base in the greater world of Scientology? Every Scientologist who's going to come to Clearwater already comes to Clearwater. Believe me, LRH Hall changes absolutely nothing. Scientologists don't even use Scientology's properties that are so-called open to the public. The park where the Checkers used to be. Have any of you ever seen a single Scientologist in that park? Nope. I haven't. The gorgeous park next to the Fort Harrison Hotel. It's beautiful. Have you ever seen a single Scientologist in there? No. If the Scientologists won't even use these properties, what do you think the people of Clearwater are going to do?
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Okay, good. So, man, there were a lot of great speakers last night. And in the midst of all these people showing up, by the way, not a single Scientologist showed up to speak in favor of this project. There were a few people in the community, non-Scientologists, who'd been safe pointed by Scientology who showed up to speak in favor of the project. Not a single Scientologist or a single representative of Scientology showed up to speak on behalf of this project. But they don't need anyone to show up because they have a stooge, a useful idiot, a moron, an agent of their own in Clearwater City Council member Ryan Cotton. Why would anyone from Scientology show up to take any arrows when they have Ryan Cotton to use as a human shield? And boy, was he embracing his role as Scientology's poster boy on the Clearwater City Council. Okay, in the midst of people showing up to speak, a member of the community presented another offer to buy this block of South Garden Avenue that Scientology is trying to purchase. And that's part of the public procedure. In order for the city to be able to even be allowed to vacate their rights to this street, as Scientology is requesting, they have to market the property for sale to get any competitive offers. And someone else from the community got up and had submitted a presentation to the council earlier in the day, or earlier the previous day, I can't quite recall, and basically made an offer to sell this thing. And it was to turn the block into essentially a memorial to a historically important local African-American figure. Now, you would think that the council would be like, oh, thank God Thank God we've got an excuse to kick this thing down the road. Thank God someone gave us a good reason. No, Ryan Cotton was furious that anyone was trying to get in the way of this thing passing, even though he had already just found out that even if the council, voted yes that night to finalize the sale to Scientology, that it's just a formality because the agreement as structured does not transfer ownership to Scientology until after they've finished the majority of the construction of L. Ron Hubbard Hole. It's a good 6 years into the future. So, and because ownership doesn't transfer, neither does payment. And so even though he realized there was absolutely no urgency to this situation whatsoever, absolutely no urgency, he was just furious that government was being inefficient and interfering with a public-private partnership and interfering with a negotiated deal. And gosh darn it, this is what Ryan Cotton ran for government for, was to crack down on government inefficiency. And gosh darn it, this is unacceptable. It was truly unbelievable. So I'm just going to play for you a few portions of Ryan crying and kicking and screaming that his overlord, David Miscavige, was not going to get the vote he wanted at that very night. Okay, 25444. We are queued up. We are going to go. I got to share it that way. I got to go full screen. We're gonna look at it right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off. I've got obviously some things to say. We've been dealing with this since I think that Scientology put in for vacation in December, and that's when this whole conversation started between city staff and the elected officials you see here today, and that's where we all decided to, hey, go allow city staff to go and bring back a negotiation. As I said, even at the work session, this started with Scientology wanting 3 properties, not 3 properties, and we, through negotiations, said, listen, let's start somewhere with 1, right? As I've alluded to, I'm born and raised here, second generation. I went to Calvary Baptist Church downtown when it was here and Calvary Christian High School. I have walked during my senior year during Bible class to minister to Scientologists. I mean, we all share experiences if you're born and raised around here, and my experiences are a little bit different. I was never chased off or detained, if you will, right? Me and the group of high schoolers that were out there trying to spread the gospel message to Scientologists usually had great conversations with them. And then
did it work?
And 45 minutes later, we would go back into the school and go to our next period. So I think something needs to change. And we all say that because we've heard it up here from California.
Something needs to change, guys. Something needs to change. I'm tired of Scientology having to covertly buy up all the property in downtown Clearwater at 5 times the market value. God damn it. It's time for some change. We need to start selling them Clearwater. We need to start proactively selling them pieces of Clearwater so they don't have to work so hard, guys. It's time for change.
Tells people that this is a ghost town. We've had papers in the windows for how long? If you go walk Cleveland Street now through these active negotiations, you can see that there's permits in windows now. Paper is down. Things are actively happening. I think that's a good progress to where we're trying to get, because I genuinely believe that we can be better than St. Petersburg, that we will be the destination that people want to come to.
We will never be that. We will never be that. And imagine him saying, I think we can be better than downtown St. Petersburg. And I think selling this street to Scientology moves us in that direction. For all the whining and bitching and complaining that Ryan Cotton has done about Scientology not getting its way easier, he has never once explained how selling Scientology this street somehow moves Clearwater forward.
We already have world-class beaches. Why can't we have a world-class downtown to suit it? I think that we can.
Because of Scientology, Ryan. Because of the organization you're trying to sell pieces of Clearwater to.
I appreciate the city attorney going over the specifics of the deals to show the taxpayers are protected with what was negotiated. I mean, I was surprised that Scientology signed the deal, if I'm being honest, right? Because of...
They're so generous. They're so generous. I'm surprised Scientology signed the deal they asked for. It's not like the city went to Scientology and was like, could you do us a favor and buy this street? We're having a budget shortfall. We could use a few extra nickels to rub together. He is surprised that Scientology signed the deal they asked for, you guys.
The $300,000 that they're going to be charged year over year by not getting the building completed at a certain date. And then after the terms are met past 9 years, we could take the property back if we so choose, or see what's going on with that time frame. I think something else that we need to remember is with the certificate of occupancy, title doesn't change over. So we've heard some people up here state that we're going to make this decision tonight, and then all of a sudden the fences are going up. You can't use garden. Nothing's going to be accessed. I mean, that can't be further from the truth, because
that can't be further from the truth, you guys. Scientology's not closing down the street today. They're closing down the street when they finish their building, you guys. Get it right, okay?
no building is done. And if no building is done, no certificate of occupancy has been given, no title has been transferred. So Cleveland Street will still be there. Your parking spots will still be there. You'll still be able to utilize these things. And I think that, again, I have to commend city staff for the negotiation that they put forward in trying to take 5 different people's variation of what we're trying to build here. That's got to be mind-boggling to try and get done. So I still commend the city manager, the city attorney for bringing the deal that we have. And I do believe that with that contract and the assurances that we've been given verbally, right? I know how people feel about that. I've read.
I wondered how people feel about verbal assurances from the Church of Scientology. I don't know, Ryan. You're the city council member who has as leverage your vote. Maybe since you're whoring your vote out to Scientology, you could at least charge them a reasonable price and say, hey, could you do me a favor and put some of these assurances into writing so I don't look like a complete fool and get humiliated in front of all the citizens of Clearwater? Or maybe he did ask, and Miscavige was like, no, get back out on that street corner and make daddy some money. And Ryan was like, okay, daddy, I'll get out there, whatever you want. He couldn't even get Miscavige and Scientology to put stuff into writing. By the way, one of the things the council members said later made it clear. These council members have been meeting personally with David Miscavige, or as Ryan calls him, Daddy.
50 emails, I think, that I have saved in the Garden Avenue folder. I get it, but I think that these binding words are starting to show fruit. Again, you walk Cleveland now versus 2 months earlier, the paper's starting to come down, the permits are in, work is being done. The caveat to that is seeing non-institutional use with long-term leases for commercial businesses, restaurants, storefronts, those types of things, so that we can see an active downtown. And I truly believe that this is just one step in going forward with that. So I have nothing else to add right now.
Oh my God. What does selling Scientology a street have to do with having a busier and active downtown? If the Scientologists were capable of making downtown busy and active, guess what? It would be busy and active. Do you think all the Scientologists are just in hiding and they're waiting for L. Ron Hubbard Hall to be built to come out of hiding and start shopping and eating and dining and drinking in downtown Clearwater? Ryan, they don't exist. There's 1,500 Sea Org members. There's 1,000 public Scientologists, as I said in my speech, in all of Tampa Bay. That includes Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Safety Harbor. You couldn't scrape together 4,000 Scientologists. But somehow selling Scientology a street so that they will be happy and renovate some of their buildings and put some businesses in there, somehow that's going to revitalize downtown Clearwater. It doesn't make sense. Ryan doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's obviously, in my opinion, in Scientology's pocket. I think someone a little smarter and a little more industrious than I needs to look into every business, church, and nonprofit organization affiliated with Ryan Cotton in any way, shape, or form and try to find out where the money is going. Because I promise you, Scientology or Scientologists are somehow putting money in someone's pocket as some favor to Ryan, if not, Ryan or his family members himself, is my opinion. Okay, now you'll notice in this little excerpt, Ryan was basically congratulating the city attorney for doing a good negotiation. There was an interesting portion of the meeting where the mayor was like, whoa. No one has ever authorized any negotiations. This was a little bit of a semantics issue. Ryan Cotton seems to think that the city basically agreed in spirit to the sale and that it was then over to the city manager to negotiate the terms of the deal. The mayor, I understood what the mayor was saying. Everyone else seemed to be confused why the mayor was, quibbling over whether it was a negotiation, whether it was not a negotiation. The mayor's point is that, no, we just had open discussions. They said they wanted this. We authorized the city manager to have a conversation and see what they were willing to give in return. It was not a presumption that the deal was going to get done and now we were just working out terms. We were just having a conversation to see if it would be in the city's best interests. Ryan definitely seems to be upset at the idea that the city manager was tasked with ironing out a deal, and now two of the council members are reneging on that commitment. Ryan Cotton is simply wrong. The mayor is right. The city manager was simply authorized to have open discussions with Scientology about what they would be willing to give the city of Clearwater in exchange for the thing that they were asking for. And that's it. But you see, Ryan is just indignant. This is unprofessional. It's bad faith. The guy's out of his mind. To be more accurate, Miscavige is just in his pocket, is my opinion. Okay. Now, there was this whole, like I said, there was another party that came forward to offer to buy the street for $1.5 million. Wait, was it $1.5 million or $500,000? I'm sorry, $500,000. $500,000 over 3 years. And Ryan was like, I'm so confused. How come you're offering less than Scientology? And he's like, because I'm going to give you the money now and they're going to give you the money in 6 years. And then Ryan went to the city attorney and he's like, is that right? And the city attorney was like, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward to the part of the meeting where Ryan is now complaining that anyone would even consider this other offer to buy the property, to turn it into not a museum, but some sort of a dedicated monument, park, museum. I'm failing to come up with the right words, for a local, historically very important African-American figure. And let's see, 30724. 30724. All right, this is close enough. Here we go.
So, with some of the points that were mentioned, with the African-American graves and all of the things that were alluded to, the 7 families that were pointed out here, to honor them as well. I do agree it's a great idea for a park, but I also agree with Reverend Wade. Why are we not doing this in the Greenwood area? That it seems like it's the optimal place to put it.
I just have to say, for those of you who don't know, the North Greenwood area is essentially the predominantly lower income Black part of town. And I don't know why he's like, why don't we put the African-American memorial in the poor part of town? Why do we have to put it in downtown Clearwater? Now, there might be people in the predominantly Black part of town that are like, yeah, we do want this memorial in this town, in the North Greenwood area. But I feel like if I were a member of that neighborhood, I might be like, it would be nice to have this memorial right smack dab in downtown Clearwater. That would reflect the historical importance of this figure. But he doesn't have any problem being like, why don't we put it over there where they live? You know what I'm saying?
For that community and to strengthen it and embolden it, right? Along those lines, Councilmember Albertin brings up a great point. You have the CRA that can assist in helping with that and maintaining it, and taking care of its longevity, instead of trying to just add it again to the Parks and Rec portion of our budget that's taking up so much already in a time where this council is trying to look at ways to cut costs from our budget. I just don't think adding another park like that it's going to be tough. It really is. I mean, we're trying to be cost conscious.
So tough.
And I think the CRA would be probably a really good fit for it, not to mention the neighborhood, as I said. So I agree with that, to definitely look at this proposal and look at a different location for it, because I think it is a great idea.
Okay, good. Ryan thinks it's a great idea. He just doesn't want it where all the white people are. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. Now let's jump fast forward to a 2-minute segment where he's basically like, this is why I got into government, to prevent this sort of inefficiency. God damn it. Why can't David Miscavige just get what he wants? Okay. 31613. 31613. This is close enough. Here we go.
I would agree that would be the form of the motion.
Yeah. All right, second.
Okay, now we discuss.
Now
The council discussion.
By the way. So what's happening here, the reason he's about to give this particular part of the speech is because Lina Teixeira and so Councilmember Lina Teixeira, Mayor Bruce Rector, and reluctantly Councilmember David Albritton, who happens to be Ryan Cotton's father-in-law, are making a motion to basically table this issue for 30 days so that the person who made the proposal to buy the street for the African-American memorial has time to put together a better proposal. And this is what Ryan is about to complain about. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start. So listen, this is something that, this is one of the reasons I got in government. And here we just did it when I brought up the fluoride issue that we're finally coming to later on in the evening. And 37-year-old who's got a good career, great life, and it's just frustrating to see government kick the can down the road. And that's exactly what we're doing here again, right? They got the proposal in on time. Absolutely. We've had...
Please remember, we're talking about kicking the can down the road for a vote that applies to a thing that's not even going to happen for 6 years. But this is what he got into government for, to prevent delays like this.
A very good authority within the neighborhood that we all know, Reverend Wade, point out that this isn't the right place for this proposal, that it should be in another neighborhood, to which a lot of us agreed on. And here we are making a motion to just digest this proposal for Garden Street. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's definitely a little frustrating. And I will say this, in my mind, it's showing bad faith. Here we came, we sent city staff out to do a job. They came back with a good, in my opinion, a good contract. And we see things that are happening with downtown Cleveland Street. And now, in my opinion, I said it when I was running in all of the different forums. We see that there's roadblocks thrown up by Scientology and roadblocks thrown up by the city. I see this as a roadblock that the city's thrown up.
A roadblock that the city is throwing up. Here's what I don't understand, you guys. Even if Ryan Cotton is completely convinced that the construction of L. Ron Hubbard Hall is somehow going to be some big economic development related boom for the downtown Clearwater, whether Scientology buys the street or not has nothing to do with whether L. Ron Hubbard Hall gets built. It's not like Scientology is trying to develop a whole parcel, but there's a street running down the middle of it, and they need to buy the street to bulldoze it so they can build their whole thing. No, they are not moving or demolishing the street. The street is going to remain. They can already build L. Ron Hubbard Hall without buying this street. So when he's talking about this is the city of Clearwater putting up a roadblock to development, it's just a false statement. Scientology can build L. Ron Hubbard Hall whenever they want, whether they own this street or not. And when you see behavior like this and language like this, that doesn't make sense. It's not logically consistent. It's blatantly false. There are other motivating factors. There are other motivating factors here than what meets the eye. This is super, super suspicious stuff.
So I just don't, you want stagnation in the city. This is the way to do it. And this is how it's going to continue. And I am not here for stagnation. I am here for progress and working. It is now known to me, Tracy McManus, everybody is familiar with Tracy McManus.
If we don't sell this, if we don't vote tonight to sell this street to Scientology, and if we postpone for 30 days just to give the other bidder a chance, this is government stagnation getting in the way of progress. Do you see? It might as well be David Miscavige himself up here making this speech. This is why Scientologists aren't even allowed to run for city council in Clearwater, Florida. Did you guys know that? Scientology tells its members they are not allowed to run for office in Clearwater, Florida. Why do they need that headache? Nobody wants that smoke. If there was an actual Scientologist on the council, Scientology would be in the press every single day. They don't need their own members on the city council when they have useful idiots like Ryan Cotton doing their dirty work for them.
Asked me when I was running, did you know that Scientology or its parishioners owned 200 properties? No, I did not. But when I had a meeting with the city manager and sat across from David Miscavige, he did tell me we own 200 properties. The Scientology.
He just said he had a meeting with David Miscavige. Check this out. I'm going to put it on normal speed.
Or its parishioners owned 200 properties. No, I did not. But when I had a meeting with the city manager and sat across from David Miscavige, he did tell me we own 200 properties. The Scientology or our parishioners. And guess what? When we had this meeting, all those papers were still up in the windows. Everything was happening, or that was happening is still happening. After the meeting and seeing that we were going to allow staff to progress and try and make a deal, you started seeing things start to happen. So listen, I understand frustration, but for somebody who is a second generation native that's lived here more than 10 years,
I love how he thinks it's a flex to say he's a second generation native and he's lived here more than 10 years. I'm not native and I've been here 20 years, and all you're doing is trying to establish some sort of a local credibility, but all you're really doing is you're betraying all of your other actual local Clearwater citizens who want nothing to do with this project. It's not a flex at all.
More than 15 years. It's been a ghost town for a long time, guys. So I'm just trying to say that this is government at its finest and kicking the can down the road. So it's very frustrating from my aspect to see just government doing that once again.
What's absolutely incredible is that the reason for the delay, the reason why they're proposing a 30-day delay, I know I've already said it, but I'll say it again, is to give the other person who's interested in buying the street 30 more days to put in a better, more detailed, more comprehensive proposal. And this is about something that isn't even if it were to go David Miscavige's way, doesn't even come into play for 6 years. But guys, this is why Ryan Cotton got into government, okay? To be David Miscavige's little bitch boy. By the way, I'm not exaggerating when I say all the Scientologists were told to vote for Ryan Cotton. That's not hyperbole. That is not an exaggeration. All of the Scientologists in Clearwater were told to vote for Ryan Cotton. Ryan Cotton is the one who ran against Mark Bunker. It is not a coincidence that this guy is doing a performance up here in the city council as if he's on Scientology's payroll. It is not a coincidence. And even the fact that all Scientologists were told to vote for him still isn't an excuse. You know who else they were all told to vote for? Lina Teixeira. And she voted no. Now, to be fair, they were told to vote for her because she was running against me, but they were still told to vote for her. And that's what matters. Okay, I want to show you that I'm going to show you a quick segment here where Lina is then pushing back on what Ryan Cotton has said, but also what Michael Menino has said that I haven't played for you guys because I'm picking on Ryan Cotton tonight. And she's like, you know what? I'm not taking this bullshit from you. So let's see what Lina has to say. This is just a few minutes long. 32419. All right, this is close enough.
And I just hope that we can find a way to move Clearwater forward.
Someone, I guess we have a comment.
I need to address some of the comments that I've heard repeatedly, and I always try to ignore it 2 times, but when it's said 3 times, I always feel like I need to answer. I don't think of this as kicking the can down the road. I'm responding to the citizens feeling that they were blindsided. That's what I'm responding to. I don't feel it's weak. I don't think I've been called many things, but weak is not one of them. I was not born in the United States, let alone in Clearwater, but I did choose this city, and I think that I have dedicated over a decade to the city. So let's not talk about who's got more in the game and who's stronger and who's weaker. Let's just focus on the issues. The issue is, I feel, from what I'm hearing from the citizens, they feel blindsided. They feel rushed. The first time that this was discussed was on St. Patrick's Day in spring break on a Monday, which was not our regular scheduled meeting. So it's not kicking the can down the road. It is just giving the citizens a chance to respond, and I want to do that respectfully. In terms of wanting to do, we all care about downtown. Let's not do this, contest. It's just that I come up from a perspective that I've been down this road before. So this is actually doing the same thing over and over again. We have vacated land over and over and over again. And we've never received the activation that was promised. So I am deeply saddened that we have once again missed this opportunity as a city to negotiate a beneficial deal, in my mind, to walk away with a written activation agreement. That's what we all want. We want activation. And
Scientology will not provide anything in writing promising to activate certain commercial properties that they have purchased and left vacant. They won't put it into writing. But Ryan Cotton is just so damn convinced that you should take David Miscavige's word for it. Then why won't he put it into writing? In fact, I think that's what she's about to say.
in terms of seeing progress with the building of the buildings, the Church of Scientology has proven over and over again that they can build beautiful buildings. It's what goes in it that makes it successful or not. If it is private, even though they're the highest paying taxpayer, we would have received more if it was an entity that actually sold goods and services. So it's not just building pretty buildings and the papers going down, it's what goes in it. And we already have turnkey properties that are ready to be rented, and there's no response when anyone calls to rent them. So an activation agreement to me is imperative. That's what our downtown needs. And I use the word our because it is both of ours. They're there, we're here, it's for everyone. We have repeatedly vacated land with hopes and verbal promises that activation would occur in return, and is yet to occur. We will be privatizing a public road in the very downtown we're trying to revitalize without considering the negative impact to the downtown of the future. Forever chasing this carrot. We have written agreements with every other entity. Why would this be different?
Exactly.
This vacation request will further exacerbate the imbalance in our downtown, and I will not be in support of it. And as a matter of fact, I want to go on record and ask to be put on the agenda for exactly a year from now in the work session to re-examine what activation has occurred, what long-term leases have been signed.
Okay, good. And if you thought Ryan was done crying and bitching about Daddy Miscavige not getting his way, you would be wrong. Okay, 33735. And I believe, if my memory serves me correct, that by the way, Mark Bonker's in the chat saying Ryan David Albritton is not Ryan Cotton's father-in-law, but actually his stepfather. That's even better. So Ryan is actually about to get pissed off that his stepdaddy is even considering agreeing to a 30-day delay. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Okay, 33735. Yeah, this is close enough. Here we go.
Starting May 3rd, so the next council meeting would actually be May 15th. So I just want to make sure everybody understood that.
May 15th?
May 15th would be the next
That's what
schedule.
we're done.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Councilmember Albritton, I don't know if we've all agreed to this proposal being great, but in the wrong place. Why extending this motion to review it bears any credibility? Because we can take this wonderful proposal and the acknowledgements that it's getting to staff right now and start working.
I feel like he was promised a cash bonus if this vote went through tonight. And he's seeing it slipping through his fingers. Daddy said I would get a bonus.
Working with them and the acknowledgements that it's getting to staff right now and start working with them and take it to the CRE without a 30-day extension to the agenda item that is here now. So that's that. And Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, I feel like you're being a little disingenuous. We did not put this street out for bid. You are 1,000% correct. Scientology asked us to vacate it. That's what started this process. And that's when the city manager came to us and said, what are your thoughts on vacating Garden? To which we said, get your team, go talk. They brought together a sales contract and did the best they could between her 5 bosses to negotiate a deal. If that's not, if a sales contract and the other things that were followed within this aren't a negotiation, then you're gonna have to give me the definition of a negotiation. So I don't think that it's fair because we weren't looking to sell Garden to anybody. This was Scientology reaching out to us to vacate it. And you know what, to Councilmember Menino's point, like this is healthy. I can't remember if ever this much debate in the sunshine has been talked about with Scientology. So if that
This is not debate. This is public showing up to complain about the action that you took when the Clearwater public had no notification that this thing was coming to a vote. This is not debate. This is you being put in an unfortunate and uncomfortable situation that people are complaining about the shit you were trying to push through.
doesn't show you that we are open and transparent to give you the most information that we legitimately have and trying.
I got to jump in. This is what I was so looking forward to doing if I had succeeded in getting elected to the Clearwater City Council, is that when things were coming up, but had not yet been presented broadly at a public meeting, but it was something that I knew was going to be a big deal to people, I would actually talk about it on my YouTube channel. Nobody tunes in to watch a 5-hour city council meeting. But I always hoped that someone on the city council would use social media to be like, all right, everyone, we had a 5-hour council meeting today, but here were the most important points. And here's the way the things went. And here's the next dates. If you're interested in this, come and talk, to actually proactively engage the public. You know, the fact is everyone in Clearwater, except for the 5 council members and the city manager, were completely blindsided by this entire issue. But he's like, this is what government should look like. This is healthy debate. It's all bullshit.
Trying to Scientology. So if that doesn't show you that we are open and transparent to give you the most information that we legitimately have and trying to negotiate a clearly contentious avenue while trying to build on our downtown and make it better, I don't know what else you need to see, because everything's in the agenda item. We're openly discussing it. Countless times I've asked for the city attorney to go over the taxpayer protected sales contract that we have. I'm again, I'm glad that I'm here to sit in this seat and not be limited to the 3 minutes, because this is the exact reason why I ran for government. The frustration.
I ran for government so I could help sell Clearwater to Daddy Miscavige.
That's because this is the exact reason why I ran for government. The frustration that I felt as a regular citizen that finally put me where I needed to be and worked my tail off to get where I'm at now. Because
how about the frustration regular citizens feel seeing city council members advocating for selling parts of Clearwater to Scientology without engaging the public? I mean, this is like he's living in the upside down world.
this is government at its finest, and just kicking it down the road for something that it clearly wasn't in the very beginning of this. This was a requested vacation, which started a process. This was not.
Yes, and because Scientology requested it, the city of Clearwater had no intrinsic interest in the deal. It was Scientology who wanted the deal. Clearwater basically being like, well, if you want something from us, let's see how good of a deal you're willing to offer us to make it worth our while. It doesn't mean the city owes David Miscavige the sale just because David Miscavige has spent 4 months convincing you and a couple of your friends to go his way. That's what's blowing my mind, guys. He's like upset on behalf of David Miscavige. That's what is truly blowing my mind.
Not a RFP. This was not, we don't like this street anymore. We want to erase it, and what businesses can come fill it. This is apples and oranges. So I'm sure I'm probably hurting a lot of feelings, but it needs to be said. It can't just stay not said. And from December we've known about this.
Oh no, David Miscavige already spent 4 months trying to buy his street. Oh, that's such a shame. He might have to wait 30 more days, Ryan.
So I don't know what we're doing here. I really don't.
Oh my God. I thought we were here to help David Miscavige buy this street. I must be clearly mistaken. Oh, I'm going to lose out on that cash bonus. God damn it. I guess we're not eating steak tonight. Oh my God. I can't even stand this guy. And actually there are some other clips, but this video is already longer than I wanted it to be, and I need to get down to the protests. So let's look at some of these starred comments and we'll wrap this up. Constance June says, if I was Santa, Ryan would be on my naughty list. Pinche Leslie, I loved your calling them out. They did not expect someone to be so direct like that and call them sus. Yes, I mean, there were a lot of other people calling them sus as well, for sure. Jojo, great work by all yesterday. I'm from England, so it was super interesting to see how it works there. I hope they don't sell to Scientology. They're going to. But we still have another opportunity to show up and embarrass the hell out of them on the 15th of next month. And you better believe, oh, wait, we're going to be in Hawaii. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're going to be in Hawaii. Okay, well, there'll still be a lot of other people who can show up and embarrass the hell out of them. Kelly, good to see you, Kelly. Scientology never keeps its word. Pinche Leslie, can you ask them why they're okay doing financial business with David Miscavige, who is hiding from the law so he doesn't get served and responds to the credit card fraud and abuses directly? That would be a great question. The truth is, Miscavige has already been served in all of the outstanding litigation, so that's at least a piece of good news. In fact, he's about to have to face some discovery requests and deposition schedulings very shortly here. Lori Marie, Ryan does not care because Ryan got paid by the Colts. Shit show supervisor, is it illegal they were doing negotiations without going through the proper channels? They did go through the proper channels. So they did go through proper channels. The Florida's Sunshine Law prevents elected officials, and I'm going to speak specifically to the city of Clearwater, from discussing any government business in private. So the council members themselves are quite literally not allowed to discuss anything to do with city business unless they are literally on that dais at a meeting being publicly broadcast. The city manager, however, is not an elected official, and she can have any conversations and any negotiations with anyone that she wants. She can privately speak and does privately speak and meet with each council member one-on-one. The city manager is not allowed to tell each council member about her conversations with the other council members because that would be like a low-key violation of the Sunshine Law. So This is the fact that the council authorized her to engage in discussions with Scientology about what sort of deal they were willing to do is totally legitimate and doesn't break any rules. Tabitha says, that was great. Thank you for standing up for our communities. Mark Bunker's in the house. The city manager is a good person. She's not in Scientology's pocket. And that's the thing. The city manager is just having the discussions. The city manager is basically just all of the 5 council members basically told her individually, this is what I would want in order to be okay with doing a deal. She basically took all of those items from all the council members, went to Scientology and said, well, these are all the things each council member is saying they would need in order to be good with a deal. What are you willing to do and what are you not willing to do? And I'm going to take that back to the council and then I'll propose it for a vote. The manager really is just being a middleman, if you will. And that's her job. She doesn't have any vested interest in whether the deal goes through or not. It's over to the council member. That's up to the council members, which is why when you see Ryan Cotton being like, I asked Daddy if he would show all of you guys the video that he showed me because it was so pretty and shiny and beautiful. And if you saw the video that Daddy showed me, you guys would love this project as well. But you see, Ryan's negotiating tool is his vote. So he should have told Daddy, if you want me to vote yes, have one of your people come to the meeting and please show them the video that you showed me so I don't look like a fool. And Daddy basically told him, you heard what I said. Get out on that corner and make Daddy some money. And he said, yes, Daddy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. The city manager is not to blame. None of this is her fault. Okay, Purple Ducky, what is Ryan Cotton getting out of the deal? That's what we all want to know. Joe Cooter, do you think it would provide a scapegoat for the council to dismiss opposition as AstroTurf if people outside Clearwater showed up in May? I have some things to say when it comes up again. Anybody is allowed to speak. The truth is they're going to show up to this meeting ready to vote. However, they've already decided to vote. So I say more the merrier. Anyone from out of town that wants to speak to this issue, it's a good idea. Angie Wilson, is this the Ryan guy, the one who ran against Mark Bunker? It sure is. Joe Cooter, how did that ministering go, Ryan, my boy? Angie Wilson, so the loser wackadoodle is the one who replaced our dearly coveted wise beard man, Mark Bunker? Geez, what a downgrade. Sorry to the city of Clearwater for your loss. Constance June, did I hear correct? They wanted 3 properties. If they sell them this one, doesn't it set the expectation that they will get the other 2? Yeah, exactly. But we should just be happy that they're not still asking for 3. Lori Marie, downtown is creepy AF. REM Arts, he just invalidated the stories that people shared about negative situations with Scientology. What an asshat. Yeah, he's like, I didn't get abducted or detained or taken away or chased away. Snoodles 1234. Wow, Ryan Cotton sounds like the definition of a corrupt official. Joe Cooter, where is David Miscavige's presentation? If the CEO of one of the largest corporations in the country can bring himself before the public, why can't he? Exactly. When Steve Jobs lowered himself to go in front of the city council of where they wanted to build the new Apple headquarters, he showed up and gave a beautiful presentation and answered questions and everything. But, His Holiness David Miscavige can't do that. Sweet Goth, good to see you. Trust me, bro is legit, apparently. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro is legit, apparently. Nurse Lori, the guy's a douche. All of this done behind closed doors seems suspicious AF. Tabitha, I'm a local and can confirm that downtown Clearwater is dead. My friends and I go there just to see how creepy it is. Lori Marie, Coltwater would be an excellent area to have tours at night during Halloween. It is so creepy and not many decorations would be needed. Rose Gold, are we going to add a cotton cutout to the protests? Joe Cooter, I think someone should put together a proposal to match Scientology's bid for the street and name it Lisa McPherson Way. Anna from Canada, Ryan Cotton is totally a simp to Scientology. Pinche Leslie, so why are they so positively okay with doing business with David Miscavige while he's evading the law so he won't get, that's the same one as earlier. Okay. Joe Bloggins, outrageous to try and fast track something with so much public dissent. Antics of a Mama Squirrel, if not letting them pay for 6 years is not a version of kicking the can down the road, then I don't know what is. That's right. It's really more of a purchase option. Anna from Canada, I have secondhand embarrassment from him. Totally Jersey. Cotton seems way too keen. Definitely giving bought and paid for vibes. Lissy Lou, how is having a stepson and stepfather ethical to be on the same board? Well, they did, run for elected office, so technically it is ethical. But in a city of 120,000 people, when you only have 5 members of a city council and 2 of them are related, that's absolutely absurd, in my opinion. Antics of a Mama Squirrel. Plus, he read at the first meeting that they weren't paying for 6 years. And then at the second meeting, he feigned ignorance to it. There you go. Anna from Canada. Wasn't Crybaby Cotton replaced with Mark Bunker? Yes, exactly. Constance June. Scientology is the definition of stagnation. Antics of a Mama Squirrel. I'm looking forward to tonight's protest. I'm so glad you keep going out there. George Massey. This guy needs to get voted out at the next possible opportunity. Old Frizz. Hey, everyone, just tuning in. Great meeting last night. So many speaking out against the proposal. Obviously, you did great. Cheryl and Bunker, too. Joe Bloggins. If Cotton is second gen and is so aware of his community since his days in high school, how did he not know about the huge Scientology ownership of so many properties? Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Anna from Canada. Mark Bunker was replaced with a Scientology simp. Frustrating. George Massey. Can anyone on the city council explain the need for Scientology to own the road? Alexis McCourt. Aaron, you make me laugh out loud. Thank you very much. Laura NP. Aaron, but they are being open and transparent. I know. Great gig in the sky. Ryan Cotton's sequestered upbringing and schooling makes him ripe for someone like Miscavige to get over on him. Bodil Vant. It seems so backward that council members wouldn't negotiate with each other first and agree with what demands they have towards Scientology as a potential buyer. I never heard about that order before. And, it's true. It's interesting that they have authorized the city manager to have these negotiations with David Miscavige. But the fact is, each one of those council members are allowed to have their own private one-on-one meetings with Miscavige or any representative of Scientology. They're just not allowed to talk to each other in private. So it's interesting that they are sort of delegating it, but that's just how it works, guys. Okay, I have got to get downtown ASAP. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys, and stay tuned. Well, tune in for the stream when I get downtown. We're going to be out there for hours this evening. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.